Hi, this is Lady Lex UK and this is a tutorial for Project Spark. I'm doing an advanced tutorial today as requested from the Project Spark Team Club on Xbox One. There was a request for a inventory and shop tutorial that was a little bit more advanced. They wanted to be able to buy and sell items from their inventory. So you have to create an inventory and a shop system. So I've done that. Here it is. So I'll just show it working. So I'll pick up those items and I will pick up these coins. And I will go to my shop. And she says, are you buying or selling? Well, let's buy. So I press A. And we've got a sword, a shield, another shield in her stock. So let's pick the sword. I'll buy that. 5 coins. Won't let me buy anything if I don't have the money. Let's go into sell. Oops, I've come out of it. Whoops, press the wrong button. Come into selling. Right, so I've got the sword that I just bought. There's a shield and the axe that I picked up. Let's sell the shield because it's worth a lot of money. And let's go back into buying and let's buy the other 2 shields. There we go. So I bought a couple of shields. Now let's go into my inventory system, press the left bumper, and I want to equip. So what do I want to equip? I'll equip my sword and I'll equip that shield. There we go, and I'll exit the inventory and I'm carrying the sword and the shield. And let's change our minds. Let's equip that shield and the axe instead. And there we go. So I've now got that and the axe. Okay, so we've got buying and selling and an inventory system where you can swap and change your weapons about. So it is a little complicated. So where should we start? Well, let's start with the objects themselves. They are slightly different than the normal brain. So instead of equipping, we're just going to pick them up. So everything in this world gets picked up and you have to manually equip it using the inventory system. That's all fine. You just change that from equip to pick up. And we're also going to give it a variable that states how much it's worth. So we'll say once a sale price equals 7. So we've got a number variable, sale price equals 7. And that's true for this particular prop. And if I go into that shield, you'll see that this one was worth 17 coins, which allowed us to buy all of our equipment. So all the props are like that. Everything that you want in the world that you can buy and sell will need to be done in that way. And we also have a special thing on the coins. So when you're using coins in your world, what we're going to do is we're going to create our own coin counter brain. So just replace it with an in-world picker for that. And instead of picking up the coin, we're going to destroy the coin and just increment the coin counters. So we don't really actually want the coins in our inventory. That's not necessary. And we don't need that extra page about dropping coins either. So there we go. We'll just destroy the coins as soon as you pick them up and just increment our coin counter. And that's that sorted. So don't forget, don't put an ordinary coin in your world. You have to put these special coins in. So there is, and don't forget to make this brain a template. Make that a template brain. Right, so here is our shop. And we've got a camera here. And that points at our player. And I've used a fixed camera wizard. So you just place it in, press fixed camera, press the wizard button and select where you want it to look and what the view wants to be. And we set it so it only turns on when it has power, and it will only have power when we turn the shop on. So here is the code for opening our shop. So when you interact with the shop, we'll set a boolean that says shop equals true. We'll set a object variable which is the person who interacted with it, so our player will be our shopper. and the shopkeeper's shopper object needs to be the same as well. So we could set them in both ways, or you could set it as a global one, but I'm assuming you're going to might have multiple shops, and that might make it very, very complicated, so we'll do it this way. Right, so when the shop is true, we're going to turn our shopper towards the shopkeeper. We're going to make our shopper invisible so it doesn't infect the camera. And we are going to turn our shopper's shop variable to true and our shopkeeper's shop variable to true. And if you press the right trigger at any point, the camera gizmo will power off and our shop will be false. The visibility will be turned back on, and the shopkeeper's shop will be false, and this shop will be false. So we're turning all the shop variables off to say we're done. Right, let's go into our shopkeeper. So once, this is our stock. The shopkeeper stock equals the sword, the rustic shield, and the fighter's shield. And you can add as many objects as you like. You have to have them physically in the world, and you do in-world pick. You do a plus sign in between each, and that creates this object set. Then for each of that object set, you get here the shopkeeper to pick up so that they're placed in her inventory. Right, so when shop is true, we'll turn the camera on and we'll display a B on the top right and value of the money and the word selling, and display A top left, the give thing and buying, and then have a say, are you buying or selling? We've got a countdown timer here so that just in case we have interference between different screens, different pages, just to make sure. And then you say when you press A, we'll switch to the buying page, and when you press B, we'll switch to the selling page. And then we'll display the right trigger to exit the shop. Oh, we've got it in there twice. We can take that out. To exit the shop, screen top center. There we go. So that's our first page. Our second page is our buying page. We'll display the word buying on screen, and we'll also the right trigger to the exit the shop and left trigger to sell. And when the right trigger is pressed, we'll switch to page 1. So we'll switch to page 1 and then it will exit the shop. There's a countdown 5 in frames for that, so we've not got interference. Left trigger pressed, switch to the selling page. Right, so here is our selling code. When the page is entered, our stock number equals 1. For each of items in the inventory, its stock number equals the current index. So the current index is every time it goes through the objects in the inventory, it's going to give it an index number of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if we're going to give that a stock number. We're then going to say when the D-pad is pressed right, then your choices are incremented by 1. And when your D-pad is pressed left, your choices are decremented by 1. And our maximum number is the inventory count. And the choice equals the clamp maximum of that maximum number, a minimum of 0. Okay, so that will clamp it so that you can't go up and up and up and up, or down and down and down and down when you're making your choices. Then we'll say for each of the inventory items, if the choice is not equal to its stock number, so if the choice number is not equal to the stock number that we've given it, then we'll display it grey on the left hand side. And if the choice is the same as its stock number, then it will display it at the screen center. And we'll make that our item for sale. We'll also display this button at the back there, so just for you don't have to have that, that's just for decorative purposes. Right, when your choice is equal to 0, so you haven't chosen anything, and the inventory count is greater than 0, then display choose an item with the D-pad. So if you haven't chosen anything and there is items in the inventory, then it's going to say choose an item. Otherwise, it's going to say sorry, we have nothing in stock. if your choice is 0, where display the item for sale sale price plus gold coins, so it says how much it's going to be, and then press A to buy, and when you press A, the sale equals the items for sale sale price. So our shopper's coin counter, if it's greater than or equal to the sale price, then play the collect coin noise, drop that item, and then the shopper will pick up that item, and then the shopper's counter will decrement by that sale price. Otherwise, we're going to play an alarm. And that's the buying. Now, selling is very, very similar. Instead, this time, go through all this. This time, so the stock number and everything else. This time, we're going through the shopper's inventory. And we're setting a stock number. And we're saying exactly the same, except it's the inventory. Just we're swapping out. So copy and paste this page. We're changing it for the shopper's inventory. Shopper's inventory instead of the shopkeeper's inventory. And we're saying it's an item for sale. And then so if the shopper's inventory count is greater than 0, then choose an item, otherwise you have nothing to sell. It's displayed. And then you've got the item for sale, sale price, gold coins, etc, etc, etc. So when you press A this time, the sale equals the item for sale, sale price. We'll collect the coins, the shopper will drop the item, and the shopkeeper will pick the item up. And the shopper's coin counter will be incremented this time by the sale price because you're selling. And that's it. That's it for the shop. Now let's go into the player brain. Let's go to page 1. We've just got exit equals false here. We're going to add our coin brain as a default. Instead of like when you pick up the first coin, I'm just going to add it to start off with, just in case she goes into the shop without any coins. It's nice to see that you've got 0 coins and have that coin there. And then we just put all of his camera and movement code and everything else under when not shop. So if he's in the shop, he can't do any of this stuff, instead of turning his brain off. And he said when you press the left bumper, we'll switch to page 2, and this is where his inventory is. So we'll go to page 2 now. So when the equipment count is greater than 0, we're going to display press A if you want to unequip items, and if the inventory count is greater than 0, we're going to say if you want to equip items, else you say you have nothing in your inventory. Then we'll say press the left bumper to exit the inventory, and we give the options. So when A is pressed, we'll switch to page 3. When B is pressed, we'll switch to page 4. And left bumper is pressed, we'll push to page 1. So let's change this now. So we're pressing A to go to page 3, and page 3 is the unequip. So let's change that to a text variable to A unequip, and switch page 4. Instead of the number, we're going to go to the text variable A equip, and instead of page 1, it's going to be I'll leave it as page 1. It's fine. Leave it as page 1. I know what it is with the first person adventure. Okay, so there we go. So there was our inventory. So let's go to our unequip page. And it's the same as in the shop. So we're going to have a stock number. We're going to go through each of the equipment and we're going to assign it a stock number. And we're going to have that D-pad again. And we're going to have the maximum equals the equipment count. It's exactly the same as the shop. So you can cut and paste and do this. It's exactly the same as the shop. So when you press A this time, instead of buying anything, we're going to unequip to inventory the item to unequip. And the item to unequip is the item that you choose that is equal to the stock number, like you did for the shop. And we go to equip. It's a little bit more complicated. Again, we're doing the same as in the shop, collecting a stock number. This time we're going through the inventory. So it's inventory this time. So the inventory count is the maximum number for each of the inventory item to equip instead of item to unequip. Right, so when you press A this time, because now Project Spark used to have, you only had one item to equip. You can only equip one item at a time, they said, and then they gave us shields. So you can actually have two items of equipment, but it doesn't actually specify which is which. So we have to put this long-winded bit of code in. So for each of the equipment, if it is a shield, then our shield object equals it. Else, weapon equals it. If the item to equip is a shield, we'll unequip to the inventory our shield object and we'll equip the weapon. Else, we'll unequip to inventory the weapon and equip the shield. And then we're going to equip the item to equip. I know that sounds long-winded, but it's the only way you can do it so without them having them drop on the floor. And that is it. That's your inventory and your shop. I know I've gone through that quite fast. In a few days' time, I will have written that out on my website as a full tutorial. But in the meantime, I hope you can make sense of all of that code. And I hope I've shown you everything that you need to create your own inventory and shop system. So thanks for watching and keep sparking.